Give me just 1 second. Good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? Y'all give me just 1 second. I'm trying to rig something up that will. Y'all give me just 1 second. Hold on, y'all. Y'all give me just 1 second. I'm glad y'all can join us. We're gonna try to have a very interesting broadcast this evening. Give me 1 second, y'all. Hold on. Let's see. Boy, that might work. Give me 1 second. I'm glad that so far we got 4 people here. Hey Anthony, what's going on? Good evening. No, sir, I am not doing better than you at all, man. But I am not going to complain at all. I just have come to learn to roll with the punches as they come. And I was just actually, man, before I was doing this video, brother Anthony, I was just saying it's bad that I once was one of the most optimistic people on the planet, but over the last few months, man, I've been so beaten down and demoralized that I'm actually now expecting bad news. Like I just got some bad news concerning the job that I was supposed to be that I got hired for, man. It's just crazy. But anyway, good evening, everybody. How you all doing? Y'all know what this is. This is your boy Rod Thomas Jr. and this is the real news behind the news. Oh yeah, today is Tuesday, July 6th, 2021. And I'm here today. Hey, Brother Lawrence, how you doing, man? Glad you can join us also. I'm here today, man, just to try to be consistent. 7 o'clock, I would like to try to do a broadcast every night from this point on at 7 o'clock, which is a good time to get as many subscribers as possible to watch our videos. Please, as you all come in, please hit the like button and the share button, which is helping us in an algorithm that YouTube is using to keep this channel suppressed. I'm glad you're doing great, Brother Lawrence. Again, I'm blessed to just be alive. That's the way I'm looking at things. Because every day that I'm alive, I can do things to make my situation better, no matter what comes against me. Again, I just got some bad news, literally, probably about 15 minutes ago. And it's crazy, but hey, bad news it comes along, with good news. Murphy Law say anything that can go wrong will go wrong. We just have to, as people, do those things that we can do to make our situation better. And those things that you can't, figure out a way to do it. So we just gonna keep going with the show. Because again, even though this job thing pretty much fell through for at least another 2-3 weeks, that the way I look at it, the silver lining that I try to put on it is, even though I still have to now get back out here and try to hustle every day just to provide the daily needs, that gives me an opportunity to be consistent and bring this broadcast to our subscribers every evening when I'm not out there hustling. But anyway, here we go. Now, as you all come in, please join in the conversation. You all don't realize how important your comments, your questions, everything that you have as far as input, how valuable it is to this broadcast. Your comments and questions really is the most important part of this broadcast, because it helps me to flow smoothly alone keep the broadcast flowing as long as we possibly can, and it gives us subject matter to talk about. It keeps the content relevant, because if you have a question or a comment, it gives us something else to talk about. Whereas I'm not just being up here having to find something to talk about. Now, this is going to be one of those videos where I'm going to try to be as I'm not going to say politically correct, because I hate that phrase. I'm never going to be politically correct, because that is a form of censorship. But I am going to try to my best to keep the cursing and stuff down so that we can try to get this video monetized. Also, please, I'm gonna say this up front, and I'm not gonna say it no more to the end, because in the end, I am gonna give a little soliloquy about the importance of you all's donation. But as we go on, please, we need at least 7 of you all to maybe hit the Cash App or the PayPal and donate $10, or 10 of you all to donate $7. So with that being said, please hit the like and share button. That's the most important thing. But if you all can, any donation of any size will help us in something that we really need to do. So let's get in with what we're going to talk about. Earlier today, I did a video telling you all that Joe Biden, Alzheimer's Joe, dementia Joe. We got a president in the White House, y'all, who is an Alzheimer's patient. Your president suffers from the early stages of Alzheimer's, whether y'all want to believe that or not, whether you have paid attention to it or not. He is being handled by his handlers to the point they're trying to keep him from addressing the public as much as possible. Because even if you're the most diehard Democrat, you have noticed when this dude gets on television and somebody asks him a question that is not on script. When I say on script, meaning the White House press corps is basically given a set of questions that they can ask him, questions that his handler has drilled into him. But whenever y'all notice, whenever he goes off script, or his medication that they put him on, whatever drugs that they have him on, are not effective at that moment, he goes off script and say some of the dumbest crap that you could ever hear a quote unquote sitting president say. Well, he's not so mentally disturbed that he cannot continue the war effort that the military industrial complex is continuing to facilitate, using our president to basically use our military. Yeah, forgive me about that. That's of course the studio right now. Our studio is the laundry room at my brother's house, but hey, we still here. No matter what I've been through these last 5 months, I'm still here, y'all. Even when I could have gave up, a lot of times I should have given up due to the lack of support. I'm still here. But yeah, Alzheimer's Joe then basically went and bombed the countries of Iraq and Syria on the premises that he's protecting the United States personnel who are illegally occupying those two countries. The reason why I put emphasis on illegally occupying, because your military, you watching this from the United States and you live in here in the United States, your military is literally an occupying force in another country, meaning that illegally your country has taken it upon themselves to violate national, here in America, and international law, and basically has went to another country and taken over that country by force, and now are acting as bullies in that country while stealing natural resources from that country on behalf of corporations here in America. The reason why we're in Iraq, let me give y'all a little history. Y'all know I love studying history. But let me tell you the real history. The real reason why we are in Iraq, first and foremost. Go back to, man, I'm trying to think. Because it was right before I went into the Navy. So back to 90, just say 89, 90, 91. We were told by our government officials, from your president down to your secretary of defense, down to your Defense Department, United States Defense Department, we were told by everyone in America in positions of authority that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, meaning nuclear weapons or serious chemical weapons that were basically posing a threat to the United States national security. Since then, all those people, Bush, Herbert Bush, George Herbert Bush, I think it's Herbert because you had George Walker Bush and George Herbert Bush. But we're going to say Bush Sr. facilitated the lie. Donald Rumsfeld, what's the black guy name who was no, at that time it was Jennifer Treyas. But either way it goes, they lied to us back in 90, telling us that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, and we needed to send our military to Iraq to find those weapons of mass destruction, depose and overthrow Saddam Hussein, and install a puppet dictatorship. Well, since then, it came out. They were lying to us. They lied to us. Saddam Hussein never had weapons of mass destruction. Although he may have had chemical weapons, you have to realize, where did he get those chemical weapons from? You had what was going on at that time was the Iran and Iraq war, where those two countries were fighting each other. At that time, we were arming Iraq against Iran with chemical weapons, with other military weapons to basically fight against Iran. The real reason why we went to war with Iraq is because Saddam Hussein realized that he was getting pimped. Because if you don't, there's something called a petrodollar, and not without losing focus on where we're going. I got to explain this briefly. In World War II, the United States did not enter into the war until the rest of the allies in Europe agreed that if we entered the war, we would from that point on have the world's reserve currency, which is the dollar. Part of that world reserve currency is what you call the petrodollar, meaning no matter where the oil is produced, refined, and manufactured, it has to be sold on the world's market for the United States dollar, which it gives it the term petrodollar because it's oil and being sold for the dollar. Saddam Hussein realized that he was getting pimped. So he went to the United Nations and petitioned the United Nations to take his oil, his country's oil, off the petrodollar and sell it to the Europeans for the euro, which at that time the Europeans had just created a European currency called the euro, which I'm pretty sure most of y'all might be familiar with. Now, that's what they deal with in Europe, the euro. Saddam Hussein did no longer wanted to sell his oil for the petrodollar because he was losing money, because the United States was dictating how much his oil could be sold for, how much of his oil he could sell to other countries. Literally, they were in control of all the oil being sold on the world's market. Because again, even today, no matter where the oil is produced, it has to go on international markets and be sold for $1. Meaning that if Iraq wanted to sell their oil, they have to go to the international market and sell it for $1 before they can even think about selling it to other countries who will have to pay for that oil also in dollars. So Saddam was like, screw that. I'm going to sell my oil to the Europeans. And the United States government said, we cannot have that. And they went over there and murdered this man. And since then, we have been in Iraq since what, 91, murdered over 1 million people in that country, all for the oil. Go back to Libya with Gaddafi. Gaddafi had created the Golden North and literally had all the countries of Africa who had oil or other precious resources willing to join him, and they were eventually going to create a United States of Africa. Because you got to realize, Africa is just a continent. There are hundreds of states. Well, we're just going to say there are dozens of states in Africa. Most of us don't realize that when we talk about Africa, most people just generalize Africa in one entity, but no, you have different states in Africa. But Muammar Gaddafi, the president of Libya at that time, created the Golden North, and not just the countries of Africa, but the majority of the countries in the world wanted to trade with these African countries who use the dinar as their main source of currency. The United States said, They went over there and showed you literally on television Muammar Gaddafi being raped. Because if y'all see the original video, y'all realize the United States had insurgents who literally went in, basically arrested, but I ain't gonna say arrested, basically kidnapped Muammar Gaddafi. They showed you Muammar Gaddafi being beaten and literally raped by these people because they were sticking weapons in this man's rectum, sodomizing him with weapons. They showed you all this on the world news here in America as they were beating him, raping him, and then they eventually hung him simply because he refused to sell his country's oil for the $1. Y'all forgive that noise in the background. I'll start that back up. Y'all, I'm sorry about that. But Gaddafi refused to sell his oil, and everybody else wanted a solid currency, something that had real tangible value as opposed to the fiat currency that is your dollar. When I say fiat currency, that's a whole nother show, because your dollar is nothing more than a piece of paper, y'all, that is not backed up by anything that the banking system were allowed to initiate under which president that was in 1912, Woodrow Wilson. I think it was Woodrow Wilson. Either way it goes, your president in 1912 took your money, took the United States currency off of the gold standard and created the Federal Reserve, who were nothing more than a bunch of private bankers who owned the banks, gave them the ability to print up a piece of paper and loan it to your government, United States government, at interest. That's what really happened. Going back to 1912, when your Federal Reserve, do y'all realize the Federal Reserve has nothing to do with the federal government? They're just like FedEx. Federal Express has nothing to do with the United States government. The IRS, believe it or not, is not a federal institution, but the IRS is nothing more than the collection agency for the Federal Reserve. This is a whole nother show. But I have to give you all the background so you can understand why Joe Biden is really bombing these countries. Why every president from Biden on back down to Reagan are facilitating these illegal wars. It is all to keep these countries that we're invading on the petrodollar, meaning selling their oil for the United States dollar, as opposed to going to Russia, selling their oil for the ruble, or through China, selling their oil for the yuan, or through Europe, selling their oil for the euro. So in any country that is a major producer of oil in the world decides to say we're going to bypass the United States because we're getting cheated out of our oil, and we're going to sell our oil to this country for their reserve currency, the United States is going to invade that country, overthrow that president, and put in a puppet president that will play along with the game and sell their oil for the United States petrodollar. A country that you all need to pay attention to right now, that the United States, over these next few months with Joe Biden in office, they're going to try to create a reason to go and invade, is Venezuela. Venezuela, believe it or not, do y'all want to know the real truth? Venezuela has the largest oil reserves on the planet. And right now, the United States government, through covert operations, excuse me, are trying to overthrow President Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela because he's selling his oil for the Russian ruble. Yeah. Pay attention and try to do your research. But if you're doing it on Google, it's going to be hard to find out the real reason we are so, our government is so against Venezuela. Is because, again, President Nicolas Maduro and the president that preceded him are selling their oil for currencies other than the United States dollar. Now, we noticed, even though we're doing this video at 7 o'clock, we noticed that our numbers are fluctuating. People are coming in, watching the video, and they're going back out, and we don't know why it is. But please, if you're here, please join in the conversation. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Those of you all who are here right now watching, please hit the share button and the like button so that we can get more people. I know y'all hear other YouTubers talk about this. When you all hit that share button and that like button, that basically draws other people into this broadcast. Whereas now it makes it hard for YouTube to try to suppress the video as it goes along. But if it's just 4 of us here watching it, YouTube is going to keep the video suppressed. But if you got 40 more people who come in and start joining the video, YouTube now is going to see where they are able to make a little bit of money off the video. So they will allow this video to draw in more and more people. That's the importance of hitting that like button and that share button. So please, if y'all here, man, hit the like and share button. Also, your comment makes a difference. Because again, the more you comment on these broadcasts, it helps this video get boosted up in the algorithm where more and more people will be invited. YouTube now will see that, hey, people are commenting. Well, let's let more people come in and join the video. So please, if y'all are here, man, hit the like and the share button. Most importantly, we need your comment. I just don't want to sit here and talk for an hour. Because if it goes past 35, 40 minutes and nobody is commenting, I usually shut the video down. You know? Because I don't want to just be sitting here, man. Hey, Robert Carson. Look, thank you, man. Thank you. The content that I try to provide, Brother Carson, makes me a pariah, in a sense, on YouTube. Because really, how many black men or women do you hear talking about the subject matter that I talk about? I try to talk about things that really affect your day-to-day life. People might say, well, how does talking about Joe Biden bombing Iraq and Syria affects your day-to-day life? How many of y'all got kids in the military? How many of y'all have lost loved ones in the country of Afghanistan, Iraq, now Syria, Libya? How many of you all have lost loved ones or got a child graduating this year who wants to go to the military? And your military today is nothing more than henchmen. Your government is like a mob who are controlled by the pharmaceutical industrial complex, which has us in Afghanistan, the oil industrial complex that has us in Syria right now, Iraq, Libya, and other countries, the banking cartel, which basically helps create wars. And then once we destroy these countries, they make loans to these countries to rebuild. So your government uses your military as the kick door men to go in and rob and rape other countries. And if you have children in the military, it is very important, because what we're seeing, of course, I'll be supporting you more live here in 50 miles from Las Vegas, went to Homer High, 50 miles from Shreveport. Oh yeah. So you're from Louisiana, but you're in Las Vegas. Hey, Brother Carson, I'm going to be real. We could use some support right now. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to keep going. Please, if you can, we need 10 people to hit the Cash App and make a $7 donation, or 7 people to make a $10 day donation, or 1 person to donate $70. We just going to say that, and we're going to keep going. But let me show y'all the game. How does it affect us that our military is overseas illegally, occupying these countries, robbing them of their natural resources, and murdering innocent people? Because the United States has a suicidal epidemic going on right now amongst our military personnel, our veterans and returning soldiers. You know why? They call it post-traumatic stress. But what that really is these people are coming back and have realized that they went over there and murdered innocent people on behalf of corporations, because that shit that they're doing over there has nothing to do with protecting us from terrorists. It has nothing to do with protecting, quote unquote, democracy and freedom here in America. No. How is it that a bunch of goat herders, camel herders, nomads in the desert who don't even have running water, electricity, 3/4 of the day, how are they a threat to us almost 14,000 miles across the ocean? They can't even get to an airport to get on a plane to come over here and become a threat to us. But they're telling us that we have to go and invade Iraq for democracy here in America. Anybody with common sense should know, first and foremost, that don't sound right. That's a lie. So what's happening now that they come back from these illegal wars where they occupied these countries and murdered innocent women and children, they're having to deal with the psychological repercussions, quote unquote, post-traumatic stress of all that murder that they did. This is why your soldiers, your veterans, and your returning soldiers lead the nation as far as suicide. They call it post-traumatic stress. And if you want to, let's go back to the Bible. Let's go to the Bible. In the Bible, you will learn in the Old Testament, God told the armies of Israel to go down to this country here and slaughter everything that has breath. And the king was like, well, what about the innocent babies? God was like, screw them babies, they gotta die too. Well, what about the puppies? The puppies gotta die too. Well, what if they got goldfish? The goldfish gotta die too. God sent the armies of Israel to literally destroy whole nations. And he knew that a lot of innocent lives was going to be lost, and psychologically it was going to mess with the heads of the soldiers of Israel. So he told the Israeli soldiers who were coming back that you cannot, after you finish this war, you cannot come back inside the city of Israel until you have set outside the gates of Israel for a year to deal with what you have done psychologically. Notice with the story of David and Bathsheba. Do you know why Bathsheba's husband was sitting outside the gates, and David had to go make what that boy name? But anyway, he had to make them force Bathsheba's husband to come inside the gate, because by law he was not allowed to come back in there, because he just came from a war where he was murdering innocent people. So he had to sit outside the gate and psychologically deal with what they were doing as far as all the murder, the rape, the plunder, and pillaging. They had to sit out the gate outside for a year. They were not allowed to come back inside the gate. This is what's happening now, and why you got post-traumatic stress, and why your veterans, your returning soldiers, and your police department leave the nation in suicide, y'all. Literally. Do your research. This ain't just some crazy old Negro telling y'all something that I can't back up. The reason why veterans and police lead the nation in suicide and antidepressant use is because they have murdered so many innocent people that psychologically it is destroying them. So they either put them on antidepressants or they kill themselves. And what's the number one side effect from antidepressants? Violent or suicidal behavior. Come on, it's really that simple. So when I talk about these foreign wars, illegal foreign wars, it affects you, because if you got children in the military, your children are over there literally on behalf of the pharmaceutical company. Why they in Afghanistan? Why is your son and daughter in Afghanistan right now? It ain't got nothing to do with a terror. Think about it. Barack Obama said he killed Osama bin Laden back in what? 2011, 2012, the third, fourth year that Barack Obama, well, right before Barack Obama was going for a re-election, he said that he was responsible for murdering Osama bin Laden. So if that's the case, then if Osama bin Laden was the face of terrorism coming out of Afghanistan, why are we still there now? When Barack Obama actually lied to you, because Osama bin Laden had been dead 6 years before Obama pulled that stunt. Think about this. Going back, didn't I tell you earlier, they showed you Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein being raped, beaten, and they basically showed you on national TV them two guys getting hung. But the world's most wanted man in world history, Osama bin Laden, they never showed us a picture of him being killed or him dead. Had it. Think about that. Osama bin Laden was the most wanted man in world history. And even though Barack Obama say he was responsible for killing Osama bin Laden, how come they never showed the American people a picture of a dead Osama bin Laden? We were told we had to hurry up, and according to Islamic law, we had to hurry up and dump his body in the ocean. But yet still, they showed you Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi being beaten on their way to being hung. And they showed you them two being hung. Didn't that violate Islamic law? So really, what we do here, Brother Robert Carson, is try to give people an alternative view of what is actually being indoctrinated into us by your mainstream media, because you got to realize your mainstream media is controlled by the major corporations. If you watch your nightly news, whether it be ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, or whatever, soon as they go to commercial, what's the first commercial you see? A commercial for the pharmaceutical industrial complex, where they are creating these deadly and dangerous drugs and telling you, well, this drug is meant to cure your blood pressure, but part of the side effects. You know they got that one dude that talk real fast. Side effects may include dangerous bleeding from your liver, your lungs might fall out in the fucking toilet. And this is what they tell you the side effects are of these drugs that they're literally promoting during the commercials of your mainstream media, or when they show you Philip Northrup or Boeing. These are military industrial complexes, corporations who make bombs, who make airplanes to drop bombs, who make missiles that fly from airplanes or ships to destroy people. All your commercials being shown to you by your mainstream media tells you who they work for. So they're going to lie to you when it comes to these illegal wars. And they're going to tell you we are justified for being in Afghanistan. How is that so? When on 9/11, y'all heard me say this so many times, on 9/11, 17 of your 19 hijackers were from Saudi Arabia. Why is it that we went and bombed Afghanistan and not Saudi Arabia? Because Saudi Arabia is our ally in evil. Because Saudi Arabia is the world's most oppressive government next to Israel. Well, now, Israel is the most oppressive government on the planet. But Saudi Arabia, let me see, we got a comment that's on here. Reply. About 20 would get shot, 6-7 would have been killed. 20, that's suck your mom 1,000 times. Wow, that's a name. That's a hell of a name. But explain that a little bit, because right now we need some help to the point where this what we're doing this now, this broadcast is being done on StreamYard. You gotta realize this is the last broadcast we can do on StreamYard because we're on the free package. They just told me that we're not going to be able to do any more live broadcasts on StreamYard until we actually upgrade our package, which means we have to buy something from StreamYard. So anyway, but again, I'm trying to understand. Suck your mom 1,000 times, time 1,000. That's a hell of a name. He said about 20 would have get shot, 6-7 will have been killed. Either way it go, why are we over there shooting 20 people and 6-7 are being killed? It's all about oil for the oil company, Exxon, even BP, Mobil, all your Gulf oil, all your oil companies are the ones facilitating the wars in the countries that have major oil resources. It ain't because of no terrorism. If anything, our government are the terrorists. See, right now, we're not able to see all the comments that are coming through on this video because we don't have the paid package on StreamYard. So please, you all, I'm gonna try this to see if we can get you all's comment. So I'm pretty sure we got more people commenting than this. But again, this is the reason why we ask for y'all donations so that we can pay for StreamYard. I ain't asking for y'all donations so I can go buy some Gucci or some tennis shoes or some, you know what I'm saying? So no, I be asking for the donations because everything that we get goes to the channel. But right now, I don't know who's commenting what. I had to look up on in my notifications and see suck your mom times 1,000 his comment. So we don't know if you all's comments are going to actually be read. Let me see if we can put comments up here. Nope, it's not going to allow. It's not going to allow us to see you all's comments. Okay. Okay, the last one we see, the last comment that I see on this broadcast is Robert Carson. He said, I will be supporting you more. And I thank you for that, Brother Carson. Let's go back to the comment, to what we were saying. Now, here we are. Let's fast forward to the day. I try to give y'all a little history. Joe Biden is basically one of the biggest Trojan horses ever put before the American people to run and become president. Black people, do y'all realize Joe Biden supported every racist governor in the South during the 50s, late 50s and the 60s? Do y'all realize Joe Biden did not like black people to the point where he said he didn't want his kids to grow up in a racial jungle, meaning he didn't want his kids or his family members or white kids going to school with black kids? Do y'all realize when we talk about the mass incarceration of black people in America, Joe Biden was the architect, him, Hillary Clinton, and others like them were the architect of the crime reform bill, which created the 3 strikes law, which sent black men and women to prison in record numbers. Joe Biden was, and then he bragged on it. He said once the law was written, drafted, and passed into legislation, he bragged and said the only thing we can't do basically to these niggas is hang them public. This is Joe Biden. Oh, they don't tell y'all about that. Y'all ain't seen that on the news? I wonder why. They're not going to tell you that. Because really, to be honest, outside of Fox News and a couple of other independent sources, all your mainstream media news sources are controlled by Democrats. It is what it is. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I could care less about any of them. But the truth is what it is, man. Your Democrats control what you see in here. Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, y'all remember me telling you about those 2 guys? Do you realize they control 90% of what you are able to see on a day-to-day basis on social media? Those 2 guys are the most powerful guys on the planet when it comes to Americans being indoctrinated. Because even though Google is the largest search engine on the planet, Google only allows you to access 30% of what's actually on the World Wide Web. This is why they don't want you to look at the dark web. They call it the dark web, but ain't nothing dark about it. The only thing dark about it is that if you look at it, they can't control you. But yeah, we in America think we're so smart and we're so privileged, we're so intelligent, and don't realize we're the dumbest people on the planet because we're sitting here being censored every day when you go on Facebook, when you go on Google, when you go on YouTube, because they are controlled. Those entities are controlled by Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos. Again, Google is the largest search engine on the planet, but will only allow you to access 30% of what's actually out there on the World Wide Web. So how could you be so smart if you're looking at Google? Do you realize Google uses Wikipedia to rewrite history and to censor what it is that you can and cannot access? So this is why I do what I do, brother Robert Carson, is I do it to, if nothing else, force people to think differently. Force people to get outside the box and think. People like to talk about think outside the box. Well, guess what? If you inside the box trying to think outside the box, your vision is limited because you're in a fucking box. You're surrounded by 4 walls inside this box. I try to get people to get outside the box and think. You all know what I'm finna do? Y'all, I'm finna shut this video down real fast and come back on my YouTube channel with this video because I see now we are being, we're not being allowed to see what comments come in, or we're not being allowed to see how many people are actually watching or whatever. So y'all, I'm not going nowhere. I'm just going to shut this video down and I'm coming back with the same video on my YouTube channel. So y'all go over, just stay right here on the Real News Behind the News YouTube channel, and I'll be right back in less than 2 minutes. But while I'm gone, please, we need 7 of y'all to either hit that Cash App, PayPal, and help us out and donate $10, or 10 of y'all to donate something. Because there is a need that we got to have before midnight. But y'all give me just 1 second, because I see now StreamYard wants us to pay for a premium service, which we can't afford. So, you know me being ghetto, I'm going to go where I know we can see y'all comment and we can address it. Give me 2 minutes. We're gonna come back with part 2 of this video. Y'all hold on.